So thanks for the impromptu little chat here. It's our first time talking, our first time meeting, but I've seen some messages from you and posts on my videos and things, so I appreciate that. And I've watched a couple of your videos, which, like I was mentioning a minute ago... Sorry?
Says I apologise about that.
Well, I haven't really dug too deep into them, but they seem like they're mostly gameplay videos, right? You have a mix of a few different things mixed in there?
Yeah, definitely. What my channel really is about, I try to... you get... On a lot of Facebook groups, you get a lot of people posting the same games over and over again.
Yeah.
And I started a YouTube channel, both to share my passion for the past, other than, it's not monetized or anything like that, but also to show different games that people have kind of forgot. So I went through the back catalogue of games as I play through Crash. You get some games in Crash magazine and in other magazines they get reviewed, and they sort of given a low rating. So they're the games that don't get posted. I mean, you'll always see Avalon, Jetpack, Commando, Rambo or something like that posted or head over heels week in, week out on a Facebook today I'm playing. But there are a lot of great games. You've got over 10,000 games for the Spectrum. So I look for what we call a hidden gem, game that time has forgotten, that people might actually find and think that, oh, that's quite good. Join me now on the Retro Robbins Show. So there's your opening presentation. All the information you need to see is at the bottom of the screen. Let's have a get into this game, shall we? Unusual combination of keys, if I remember rightly. It's OP and just one more key, space to which will just stick you to the roof and back. So there's only 3 keys in total, which is not too bad. You've got to work your way through the screen slightly. And I think you have to just time it. These are like them annoying crushes. Now that green stuff on the floor there, the green slime on the floor, is deadly, and so is the green slime on the roof, so stay away from green things. And you'll stick to the roof until you drop down. Crawl your way around the screens like so. Instantly gravity takes you up. You need to find a way to open that in order to collect that object, so we won't do that at the moment. I remember that in Crash vaguely, or your Sinclair user, whatever magazine they was buying at the time, including Commodore games as well. I grew up with people with Commodores and people with Acorn Electrons and BBC Micros. In fact, I grew up in an area of strong people with loads of computers. If we wasn't playing football, we was on our computers, do you know what I mean? Because it was a new thing in the 80s, and it was, as everyone knows, cast off as an educational tool, but really wasn't. So
it wasn't.
Wasn't classed as an educational tool. It was more for games. But
so you guys had the BBC Micro in the schools, though, right? Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. My school had about 8 BBC Micros in a computer room.
So I was going to look for it, and I have them here somewhere, because in my high school, and we're probably, I don't know, I'm probably a bit older than you, but...
Amiga, isn't it? Usually, are you from the Australia?
Canada.
Canada,
yeah.
You think, which one would it be?
The computer?
Yeah, which computer? I'm trying, because I know in Australia, they had Amigas.
Okay, we had Amigas as well, but my first computer was this one here, you probably recognize.
ZX81 or the timing.
Yeah, our version of the ZX81. So we had double the RAM you guys did.
I got about 4 of them.
I'm sure you do. But do you have any TS1000s though?
No, because that's the American version, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
All made in Scotland, made in the Timex company in Scotland back in the day.
Yeah,
with an excellent ULA budget chip. So, but you can actually get sound out of them, I believe. I know it sounds strange. You can plug a tape recorder in, press record, and some games would play sound, even though it didn't have a speaker.
Really? Well, there were some programs I remember back in the day that I would type in that let you play sound over an AM radio when you hold it close enough to the TS1000. But in my high school, when we learned computer science, it was on punch cards. So we were filling in little holes in
Yeah,
on
that's
computer
that's
cards.
the very first way that computers were programmed.
Yeah. Do you think students back, like when you were in, would it be high school that you guys were learning on BBC Micros?
Yeah, yeah.
And
The BBC, the computer class was just a one class, but you're talking early 80s, you're talking 83, 84.
yeah,
And because there was the BBC Broadcasting Corporation wanted to make England more computer literate to catch up with the world, and computers were a new thing. They'd already started in the States quite early, and they come out with some cracking computers over there. But I think Sir Clive Sinclair brought it to the masses with a budget computer, because before that they was really, really expensive. You're talking, well, the equivalent of £600 back then is like a couple of grand today, which is a lot of money. Or dollars. It's the equivalent in dollars is even more.
is that what a BBC Micro would have cost then back then?
I would have thought that the BBC Micro was at least £1,000 computer.
And is that what people would be buying for their homes at that price? What would people buy other than the Spectrum,
what
if anything?
people would be buying for their homes would be something a bit more budget friendly. For instance, the ZX81 was the first computer to come out that was the ZX80 was under a ton. Which was basically £100. For less than £100, you could get a computer. Well, people bought that, even though they didn't know what they wanted to do with it. As Micromen said, computer. It was blooming dreadful, right? You got flames. There wasn't much memory. You got screen every time you pressed a key would cut out.
Because it was in fast mode all the time, right?
Yeah, and then he progressed to the ZX81, which was actually terrible keyboard, although I've got nostalgia for the keyboard because I started programming on it. I started.
Yeah, me too.
You get I don't know if you had the same magazine there, but we had Sinclair programs, and in the programs you'd have ZX81 games, and of course then there'd be Spectrum games. And I didn't have a Spectrum, but I had the ZX81, and I had the RAM pack, which was a very wobbly thing indeed.
Yeah. Did you never have a Spectrum? Or?
Yeah, I moved on to the Spectrum afterwards, but I didn't go straight to the Spectrum. We have got a mail order catalogue company, and you'd order through, and they get delivered. And I remember one Christmas, my mum ordered what I consider was a Commodore 16. My brother said it was a VIC-20. That would be my second computer from the ZX81. The ZX81 I bought from a guy up the road, and we bought it really cheap. And I started programming basic games on that and learning a little bit about programming in BASIC. And of course, we all did the Bomberman, where you've got a plane going across, which was an easy one. You just drop a bomb, level it so as you can land. And that was the first game that I programmed and learned what it did and how it worked using loops back on itself. And then I started to move into a little bit of machine code. But by that time, I was starting to get bored of trying to program games. I was more interested in hacking them and looking through the code to see where I could put cheats in them to make them easier with infinite lives, immortality, extra time, all the bombs, all the usual little hacks that you do when you're playing games that you're not good at. But as I say, I moved on to the Commodore 16.
Commodore 16, was that a popular computer over there?
Not really, but I'll show you one.
Yeah.
That one just here, as I go out your shop. That's the Commodore 16.
Commodore 16. Okay.
Yeah.
And where was that in line with the VIC-20 and the 64? It
was before the 64, I should think, and it was more of a budget computer because it didn't have a lot of memory. The Commodore 64 come afterwards. That was the big one in the States, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
But that got sent back. Do you know what I mean? We had it for about a number of weeks, and our mum decided, that's a bit expensive. She sent it back.
Oh, you had a 64, you mean? Or the 16?
The 16. It come with a lovely tape recorder. It came as a kit, and there was some games on it. And, it was a box, but my mum sent it back to Kay's catalogue and got refunded on it.
Okay. Did you have a chance to use it much when you had it?
I used it a bit, yeah. I had about 3-4 weeks on it before my mum realised that money was tight and we couldn't afford it, so she sent it back. So it was sort of kept me quiet for 5 minutes, but I moved on then because a friend up the road from me had got himself a Spectrum, and his first one he had, it wasn't working or something. Well, he actually took it apart and voided the warranty.
Oh.
And he'd broken it.
Oh.
Because, kids, they like to take things apart because it was a warranty sticker. And because he broke, his mum and dad managed to get him a new one, but they bought it off him and they brought it in to me, and there was a problem with the membrane. The M key wasn't working properly. It sort of been where it hit it very hard because he'd had it at least a couple of months, 3 months before it broke, sort of thing. So I opened it up and I saw that I could order a membrane from one of the magazines. I ordered the membrane. I replaced the membrane. And that's where my love for the Spectrum really started. Because compared to the ZX81, I know people didn't like the rubber keyboard. I adored the rubber keyboard because that one-touch command, you got really quick at programming basic games. Yeah. Instead of typing the whole board out or something, you could just press 1B and the word board appeared. Fantastic. So you'd think it'd be a lot easier to type on, but then you had to learn, and it took a long time to get it into your muscle memory where symbol shift and could get access different functions. So I started programming on one of those. And of course, then you'd start by buying the magazines, wouldn't you? I mean, I don't know what magazines you had over there.
Well, I remember Sync and Timex Sinclair User. It was pretty slim pickings over here.
Yeah, we had that over here as well.
Timex Sinclair? Oh, Sinclair User.
Yeah. Sinclair User we had over here.
Okay.
We had your Sinclair, Sinclair programs. We had Zzap, which was part the same people that did Crash magazine, which is what I got my T-shirt on for.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, because
you're involved with the Crash projects, are you?
No, I didn't live anywhere near Ludlow, but I was in communication with people from. I was in a rich vein of coding area. You got a lot of bedroom coders.
Yeah. You're talking about back then.
Back then, yeah.
But now there's a Crash is really big now as well, right? And stuff.
I work with Chris on Fusion Retro Books. We don't just do Crash though. We do Zzap. We do.
Okay.
We've got an event for Zzap in Kenilworth soon, which is the Zzap live event. But we did Crash live event, which was an absolutely amazing success.
Okay, Wayne.
Hello there.
To our friends in Portugal, pleasure to be with you again from since Blackpool. So you have this stall here. So what are you showing to visitors?
I'll start it. Do you want to come around there?
Yep.
Film it? This is a demo, and what we're doing here is we are running 3 different outputs from one Harlequin kit 128K.
Okay.
The other one is a compositive lead.
Yeah.
Codmod. That one's a ZX HD, and that one's a SCART lead out. And what you're getting there is you're getting a good similarity of how good the picture is between lots of them. Of course, when you've got a demo and AY sound playing as loud as you can, it gives a good demonstration of things.
But the fact, looking at this, I immediately recognize the ZX HD gives the best image possible.
It's also in the right frame ratio.
Yeah.
It sort of shortens it down.
No, it's amazing.
But as you can see, it's just when you're running demos like this, it shows the system off and what the actual capabilities, because this is run on a normal toast rack, all these demos. Here it is.
Okay.
That's a wireless joystick interface.
Nice. Very, very nice.
Oh, you sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, Cobra Kai style.
Oh, we've done it again. Behind the scenes.
Yeah, so an Arrow Queen.
So that's the Harlequin kit, which I've soldered the keyboard up, which is
The
LEDs.
rainbow, yeah.
I can actually show you that because as it happens, that is the actual board, which you can get from Ben.
Oh, it's a Zilux one. Okay, I have one to build from Peter, from ZX Renew.
Well, anytime you want me to build it for you, I can do that for you.
Okay.
Right? I won't charge you anything.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. As you can see, they're really, really tiny components, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's basically what's in there. As well
Because
as
there's another one that I have, which is the rainbow keyboard that Ben used to sell from Byte Delight.
Yeah, the same one.
Okay. It does something different because I don't remember seeing the white here. I think it's more shifted.
Light touch.
Okay.
The original one's over there. They come this way.
Oh, yeah.
Another one
That's the one I have, I think.
That's the original one that I do.
Yeah, I think that's the one I have.
But I sort of vary. Do you know what I mean? Because some people just want the lines.
Yeah.
Some people want that pattern. But I actually wanted an equal amount of red, yellow, blue, and on the actual thing itself. So if you come back over here.
Yeah.
Because it's a white case, you've got 2 rows of blue, 2 rows of green, 2 rows of yellow, and 2 rows of red. The white just complements the case, so it just cuts out that corner.
And then you get the pattern.
Perfect stripe, which I find a lot better. But,
that's the kind of thing that's called passion. The dedication you put to this very well.
But you're a passionate man on this stuff as well.
Yeah,
so,
we all are, or else we wouldn't be here,
we
right?
wouldn't be here, would we? So and of course I've got cover tapes actually for Zzap that have been coming out.
Oh.
Yeah, we've.
You mean the new versions of Zzap come with cover tapes?
Yeah, let me just show you.
Yeah.
I've been doing the ones for. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
That's the Crash one. That's the Spectrum version of the cover tapes, which
Okay.
I've been getting the software together for that sort of thing. And each one's got an image. That's the Christmas cover tape from this year, 2022.
The magazines I order don't come with cover tapes. Those little mini ones, is that the ones that those come with?
Yeah.
Or just you guys get them?
We got cover tapes in Sinclair User and your Sinclair. Towards the end of its life, though, more than anything.
These guys, so I've got tons of the Crash ones.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they? Yeah. Have you got the Zzap ones as well? Do you?
I do have some of the Zzap ones, but I think I just got them. I don't know how I got them. They got thrown in some of the orders by mistake or as a freebie or a bonus. I don't know. But most of mine are
quite
Crash.
unusual, being you're from America, you say?
Sorry?
You're from the States?
I'm from Canada.
Canada, well, no, slightly different, isn't it? Yeah.
The cover tapes, they come with those little versions of the magazines in the UK, or
They do now.
They do now.
You can order them as an extra tier. I'll show you one. I've got one to hand. If you give me a second just to find it out. I've just been playing with it about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, sure.
As always. Is it over there?
I'm sure you have everything in your collection there somewhere hidden away.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, Zzap, okay.
The Zzap cover tape. And what it is, it's a nice branded tape inside. This is the 2022 annual one.
Okay.
Yeah. You get a selection of games on there. That was the Christmas special, actually. I'm just looking through some of the games. I think one of the ones I played was a playable demo. Robot Jet Action was pretty good. I enjoyed playing that. That was a great game with great sound.
Yeah.
And that's one you get for the Commodore 64
On the Zzap magazine.
on the Zzap magazine. I think Chris will still have stock of them.
No.
They get those tapes quite regular.
What is your involvement with the magazine? What do you do with it?
I'm the cover tape editor in Crash.
Cover
if you look
tape
on the front
editor.
book, it's got Wayne Robbins, which is my
Uh-huh.
proper name, and it's got cover tape there Plus, I help out at events and stuff like that now, which is my new part of the role.
What's involved in editing a cover tape? You mean the graphics for the enclosure or the actual games?
No, it's basically getting in touch with anyone who's created a homebrew game.
Okay.
Asking permission if they'd allow me to put it on. There's only about 150 of them. A cover tape says we've got a section of four games on every tape. And if they say, yeah, I've coded this, but it's available on each to buy, well, if they want to buy the download, that's fine. But if somebody wants a physical format, like back in the day, when you used to play off cassettes, because I like loading things off cassette myself.
Yeah.
Even though I've got an SD card solution, I still think there's something about the loading screen, the build up to the game, that makes you want to play the game more. Because if you haven't got that, it's too easy with an SD card to suddenly choose a game. I'm bored of this. Delete, go.
Yeah.
When you've had to wait for something to load, you're more inclined to give the game a fair go rather than just switch it off straight away, because you spent like 3 minutes waiting for it to load. So you might not like it, but it's going to be another 3 minutes before you wait for something else to load. So
it's the instant gratification thing, right? It's kind of like a record versus a CD or an MP3 when you're just flipping past all the songs, and it's like my wife sometimes she'll play a part of a song and then she'll flip to the next one and the next one. It's like, let me hear the whole song for a while first. So if you're on a record, you just play the whole song, the good and the bad, and you kind of appreciate it more, don't you?
SD card solution. I mean, you get these for Commodore, and you got the Kung Fu Flash Commodore. That's the one for the Spectrum. It's an SD card solution interface, and you can have a few thousand games on that SD card.
Yeah. Does it come with a case?
You can get 3D printed cases for them, or you can get them like that.
What's
Ben
the?
does the ones
That has a joystick interface as well. I'm guessing that with that.
Yeah, that's a joystick
D9
interface.
Connector. Okay, Kempston.
Yeah. Kempston usually standard Kempston. You can have ones that's got Sinclair or the interface.
That's what do the buttons do?
Right, the first one button's just simply a reset button.
Okay.
Resets your computer. The other one's for the non-memory interrupt.
Okay.
And that'll bring up a menu with all your games listed on. So you can do them in folders, or you can just have them all raw. And then all you do is you click on that game, press enter, game instantly dumps, because the snapshots usually, straight to the screen.
Okay.
It'll load tap and snapshots instantly.
And can you save snapshots of games you're playing there in the middle of a game?
You can, yeah. You just press the
with
top
the NMI button there, yeah.
Yeah.
And where can you buy that thing? Is it still available?
Yeah. The one you really want, just give me a second.
Yeah, sure.
That one's great for 48K Spectrums, but that one is the one that you really want. Right?
What's that called? Or where do you...
That is the Div MMC.
Div MMC, okay.
Yeah, that's the Mini or the Future. You can get that from Byte Delight.
Okay.
Which is Ben Versteen's company in Belgium.
Okay.
And they're really, really
in Belgium.
handy. Yeah.
Okay. Can we see the ports on that thing again? You've got two LEDs, it looks like, and
they're both buttons.
One button. It's two buttons.
There's an LED behind the button, right? Which flashes red and green. One's just a reset button, and one's the memory interrupt button.
Okay. And a joystick port as well, and the SD card input as well, obviously.
I think I could.
What
show you actually, but
why do I want that one as opposed to the other one?
Well, that one can only do 48K snapshots.
Okay.
So you won't get it's good if you're just playing traditional Spectrum games, but a lot of Spectrum games are now for the 128K, and they've got great AY sound in them.
So 48K has no AY sound.
48K doesn't have an AY chip in it.
Okay.
It's just a beeper.
The 128 does. So which versions of the Sinclair were 128? Would that be the Spectrum 2 and above, or? Right.
You've got the Toast Rack, which is the 128K. That was the first one with an AY chip in it.
Okay.
Then you've got the Spectrum Plus 2, the grey case. That's got an AY chip in it. The Spectrum Plus 2A, Plus 2B, the Spectrum Plus 3. They've all got AY chips in them, and a lot of clones as well tend to have an AY chip in it. So not only do you get a 128K capability, but you get excellent AY sound, and some of the tunes that came out in AY are absolutely brilliant. Let me just mute that in the background. That's it. I can play
are both of those cards made by the same company then, if you wanted to order either one?
No, they're different people. They're different people. This is the Smart Card V2.
Smart Card, okay. V2.
Yeah, I think you can read that.
Oh, Smart Card V2, yeah. And it says next. What does it say on the top? Next? Or reset?
It's got the reset and
okay.
Retroleum.co.uk for that one. Retroleum, I think you can see the name. That's going to focus.
No, can't see it. I'll just Google it. Retroleum, you said?
Yeah, spell it. Well, let me get the eye winkle in. Yeah, spell Retroleum.co.uk.
Okay.
The eye winkle down there.
Okay.
That's the V2 Smart Card.
Okay.
Or you can go for Ben's Byte Delight, which is
Byte Delight, yeah.
I've got a sticker somewhere of his. I usually can show you these things, but I haven't got it to hand. He does great peripherals. These are not cheap though. These are quite expensive, to be honst. But I'm
sure the shipping will be more expensive than the thing anyway. So.
Yeah.
To get it over here.
Once you've got one, it's great to have, because that can run tap, Z80 and snapshots. Or there's another device I use, which is this device.
Sinclair, okay.
That's just tape loading simulation without actually using a tape. So you can put your TZX or tap files on there in an SD card. You power it by a USB, and you can load your games via this little display there.
Okay.
And
so
you
it
can
simulates
load
a tape deck.
Simulates a tape deck, but all the files, basically, nearly 90% of the files that you get from Spectrum Computing, you're able to use on that to load with. It loads all the files if you need it to, and it'll load it first time every time because it's the best signal you can get. It's clear, crisp, and
it's digital, obviously. Yeah. So is it TZX or TAP or both?
That's a TZX player. It's from YouMakeRobots.
Yeah. What's the difference between a TZX and a TAP file? Do they both have to go through that loading sequence?
TZX is the original format it was saved in usually, and TAP file is something that, if you're using an emulator, it will automatically stop. Certain multi-load games will automatically stop for you, and people have done some jiggery-pokery to help it there. But TZX is the original, so you have to press pause should you have a multi-load game where you have to keep loading section after section. But TAP will automatically stop for you on emulation or on the Spectrum Next or whatever you're using can sort of hold that up. But that's the formats that they save in, because there's usually 4 formats. There is a fifth, but the fifth is really complicated. You've got TAP files, TZX files. You've got your traditional snapshot, which is, everyone knows that. You've just basically saved the memory instantly as it's there. Then you've got your Z80 file.
Is that machine code file?
Yeah, it's just your ROM. Your basic ROM's there straight away. And then you've got TRD files, which are a little bit more complicated to use because this will run TRD. This will run TRD as well. A little bit more complicated to use because it's like having an external drive sort of thing, and it feeds back with the drive. So that's why you get games that are like 700K or 500K.
Yeah, they
run through TRD. Because obviously the Spectrum can't load that with only 128K, which you don't get a full 128K memory anyways. It's the same with the 48K Spectrum. You lose 16K at the start. With the attributes and the screen RAM and all the ROM itself. But if you know the memory map well, that is. Some people don't understand it, but other people do. You either get it or you don't. I'm sure you do, obviously.
Are you familiar? So you do programming yourself, and you're familiar with that memory map stuff? And
I am really with the Spectrum. I'm not so much with the Commodore because I don't dabble in programming with that sort of 6502 processor.
So with I know when I'm doing some programming, you can configure your variables in the program and have the program configure the variables, but then you can erase that code in your program, free up the space, and your variables are still there. So if you save your program, once you've defined the variables, then you freed up your space.
Yeah.
Is that how these different file formats that you were just mentioning, you can load the program that's already got the variables kind of thing, or is that
it's already it's already saved onto. It basically dumps the memory across from what was there. It's a handy little tool if you're still using the Spectrum to program on, or 128K, which most people don't. They use a computer.
Except for some people.
You can do a snap file.
Yeah.
And that way, if anything goes wrong when you test your code and you suddenly get a glitch and it crashes, disappears, you don't lose everything that you've done. You just get the snap file back and find out where you've gone wrong. So it's handy for that reason if you're programming using original hardware. But who actually did that in I don't think anybody, not many people who developed games for the Sinclair Spectrum back in 1984 onwards actually used an original Spectrum to do that. They all squirted the code across from a machine. Oliver Twins famously did it using the Amstrad, I think it was, or something like that. But even Matthew Smith, who created Manic Miner, created a lead, used a separate computer to program Manic Miner, then squirted the, shall we say, those are his words, squirted the code across to the Spectrum to test it.
For whatever reason, Matthew didn't particularly like coding directly onto the Speccy. Perhaps because of reliability issues. As anyone who's ever worked with one knows, Spectrums, especially these early ones, crash a hell of a lot. It seems as though Styx was coded directly onto the Spectrum, but Matthew Smith preferred coding on his TRS-80. However, no one was particularly interested in releasing games for that system, and so he came up with a somewhat ingenious solution, a classic bit of computer hacking. He made up a small little Vero board with components that plugged into the back of the Spectrum, and then into the parallel interface on the back of the TRS-80. This classic picture of Matthew, in all his messy-haired glory, actually shows off the Vero board that he created. Using this, he would code the game on the TRS-80 using assembly on its basic program, and then run a command to, in his terminology, squirt the code onto the Spectrum, filling up its memory in all of 2 seconds, and he would then be able to test the code on the Speccy. If, or more accurately when, the Spectrum crashed, no problem. Simply restart the Spectrum and use the same command on the TRS-80 to immediately fill up its memory once more. Once again, it has to be said, Matthew Smith's talent was undeniable.
Was it a TRS-80 he used?
I don't know what computer.
I think I saw that in one of the documentaries on him. I think it was a TRS-80 that he said he used, and he squirted it over, like you said.
Yeah.
So even he didn't use the native hardware.
Not many people use the Spectrum.
Do you think that was because of the keyboard? Wait till you get some retro graphics happening. No graphics. Okay.
I've just turned it off.
Okay.
Yes, possibly because of the keyboard, but more to do with the fact the Spectrum gets quite hot.
Oh.
It's all in the. You've got the 7802 voltage regulator dumping 95% of its efficiency in a heatsink, which is heating up internally in a small case. Then you've got the ULA, which gets hot and doesn't have a heatsink on it. And, in the issue 2 and above, the heatsink was at the bottom. There wasn't much ventilation in there.
Yeah.
All heats generate some sort of heat. That heat builds up. Heats and ICs don't like that, do they? Once they get to a certain degree, they become glitchy and faulty. And
nowadays, do people replace that voltage regulator with a digital version?
The stepping voltage regulator is 95% more efficient, yes. And you don't need the heatsink, do you?
And that's an easy swap, I'm guessing, right?
It's really
it's like a pin for pin thing. You just plug it in and plug it out.
Just desolder your 7805, put the stepping voltage regulator in. It's a lot better on everything because obviously you brought the internal heat down. It's the chips are still going to get warm, but it's going to take a lot longer for them to get warm because they've got more breathing room. But at the same time, what people do as well, I do it, Mutant Caterpillar repairs computers do it, is we'll desolder the ULA because all ULAs tend to be socketed because they were glitchy.
They're socketed.
Usually socketed. We lift them out the socket. We take the sockets out, so we use our solder station to remove the sockets. Then we drop the chip straight in. And the reason why we have to do this is because there's not much room in a rubber case to put a heatsink on top of the ULA. So we have to drop the actual ULA chip down a bit in order to fit the heatsink on top of it.
Even with a low-profile socket, you wouldn't have enough room still?
I don't know because I haven't got any low-profile sockets, but we take the sockets out that's in there anyways. So what we'll do is we'll put the chip straight onto the board, solder the board in, and then put the heatsink on. And that helps prolong the life of the ULA.
And the heatsink, are you just throwing some thermal grease on there and plopping the heatsink on? You can't physically attach it, I'm guessing.
Thermal-based or glue. Thermal glue is usually the one. Just so it distributes in the heatsink itself, which prolongs the life of the Spectrum. So, yeah, that's what we do for that sort of thing. A lot of times, these caps, although, to be honest, they're not too bad. I haven't really had any that far out of spec, saying that now I will. We recap them, electrolytic capacitors. They do tend to go leaky, more so in Game Gears than anything else, because their caps were dreadful for leaking Game Gears. So you have to change those things. But the Spectrum caps, you do have to change them. If you don't, they become more like a resistance, which can damage ICs and that.
Are there ceramic caps in those as well?
Like
the little
some
discs?
of the later models, yes, there's the ceramic caps in but they tend to be electrolytic capacitors in the Spectrums.
The ceramic ones I had heard are not reliable and you should just cut them out and replace them, but I've heard other people say ceramic caps never go bad, so I'm not sure what the truth is.
Well, they're dry, aren't they? So I can't see why they should go bad.
Yeah.
They're brittle, they can break, I suppose.
So when someone buys a computer, like nowadays, obviously, as you probably know better than anyone, the retro scene is huge, and people are buying up these retro systems like crazy and charging crazy prices on eBay. So somebody's buying these things, including me. So when someone buys a retro computer, like if I were wanting to get into Spectrum, which I've got a Next, but to go down the native Spectrum rabbit hole would be probably a long trip. Sorry?
Your Next Spectrum,
I consider it a Spectrum, yeah.
Yeah, it's running on, it's an FPGA based Spectrum, but it runs original hardware a lot of the time. You can plug certain peripherals that were made for the Spectrum back in the day in the Next. Not all of them, because some of them need a 12-volt rail line, and you don't get that in the Next.
Could they not have made it 100% compatible?
Not 100% compatible, no.
Were all the Spectrums compatible with each other as far as the edge connector goes? Other than the ZX81,
yes,
of course.
To a degree, yes, because obviously if you've got something like a multiface, which was a device which would allow you to peek inside the memory and poke it while the program was still in action and running, you had a multiface 1 and a multiface 128, which was basically, the multiface 128 was backwards compatible with the 48K Spectrum, but the multiface 128 wouldn't run on the Spectrum Plus 2A or the Spectrum Plus 3, so you had to have a multiface 3 to run on that. But say the Micro Drive 1 would run on the 128K toast rack, and the Spectrum, but probably wouldn't run on a Plus 3. Not that you want it to, because you've got disk compatibility anyways. So they are, within reason, fairly backwards compatible. But what makes it interesting is you've got some of them need a 12-volt rail line. Because you got 4 different voltages with the Spectrum. You got your 9 volts, which is going in. You've got your plus 5, minus 5, and plus 12 volts on the ICs, on the RAM chips themselves, which is like not needed anymore. Everything's 5 volts, job done, because those were the chips of the day. Because originally, a lot of the Spectrum chips were just faulty ones that were bought cheap.
The RAM chips, you mean?
The RAM chips, yeah.
So they were supposed to be 16K, but they only worked up to 8K, or something like that?
Yeah, one side of them was faulty, and then Sinclair sorted out which side was faulty, and depending on which model Spectrum you had, it was running via the upper bank or lower bank of that particular chip.
So does that mean the system was designed to work with faulty chips then? Because you would have to put twice as many chips in, right?
It was basically a cost-cutting exercise to get chips on the cheap.
Because they knew that the faulty chips would be available.
Yeah, a lot cheaper than putting proper, fully working chips in. So he used that as a cost-cutting exercise. So only one half of the chips was actually any good, really.
Is that in all the models of the Spectrums, or just one model?
A lot of the early Spectrums, issue 1s, 2s, and have basically got those faulty RAM chips. But as the shall we say, defective RAM, they wasn't 100% faulty. I would say defective.
Yeah.
They don't know the true ins and outs on it, but some may be okay.
Were there more than one version of the toast rack, or were they all 128K?
Right, there is only, as far as I know, one official toast rack board that I've seen. There may be,
but the system. If you went to buy the system and you didn't really care like what circuit board was in it, and you went to go buy a toast rack,
I think there was only the one board
only one,
for the toast rack. Yeah.
And was that the most popular version? I hear a lot about the toast rack. Obviously, I'm not in the UK, but it seems like the toast rack was the thing to have, and maybe even still is, except for the next. I envy your man cave there.
Yeah.
No, that's not a. Oh, is that a toast rack? No.
It's not, but it's the next thing up from a toast rack because it's the grey one,
and
it's the same as the toast rack to me, but with a tape recorder built in it.
Okay.
But the toast rack itself...
That's a +2.
Yeah, it looked more like a Spectrum Plus, but with a rack on it. I've got one, but it's in the other room, and I'd have to sort it out.
There's two of the +2s, right? The grey one and the black one.
Yeah.
What's the difference again? I heard the grey one is the one that you want, but I forget why.
There's the black one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you've got everything right at hand there, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I've got them all.
You just need to get wheels on your chair, then you won't have to stand up at all.
There's a grey one.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. That's 128K.
All right.
But it's the
and
same.
What have you got plugged into there?
Oh, I've got the...
Is that the...
Yeah, I will be able to show you now. If you can read that at all.
No.
It's an SD card solution. You might be... It's because he's printed it in black. This is from Ben from Byte Delight.
Oh, it's a different one than you showed me before.
Yeah, that's the sort of upper class model of that one. It's got a through edge connector.
Oh. Is that your little friend talking there? The dancing robot? So you need to get... That's the one you need to buy if you had it +2 then.
No, you can use that. You can use that on all the models of Spectrum.
Okay.
Every Spectrum model, +2, +3, it's compatible with a lot, complete range.
And the one you just showed me?
Same. That can be used on every model of the Spectrum.
Okay.
It's just that it's got dual joystick port.
Okay.
And the SD cards in the side rather than the top. But it hasn't got lithium. It's just got a red and blue.
And were there many games made that used 2 joysticks?
No, there was a few. I think Where the Exploding Fish was one we could both use the joystick on. There was a lot of racing games you could both use the joystick on. And I think sometimes there's games where you need a joystick and keyboard.
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters, Codemasters, one person could have the joystick to shoot the demons, and the other person could control the man. That was a good game. Which I liked, but not to everyone's flavour. But generally speaking, 2 joysticks was quite common on a lot of games.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to tell me the difference between the grey and the black +2s.
Yeah, right. The black one is different to the grey and toast rack. The black one is more closely related to the Spectrum Plus 3. It's the same sort of board, same sort of setup. You've got a different... you've got M drive memory built in, which is like another 58k or 62k, depending. I think it's 58k on the Spectrum Plus 3, and that's instant memory you can use. So if you want to save something to M, it instantly saves to a separate bank of. So there's a bit of a difference there, but there's a difference on the circuit board as well.
Okay.
You've got a gate array for the ULA on the Plus 2A and Plus 3. That's an original ULA, a slightly larger one, chip. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to that. So there's a fair few differences between the two in design. A little bit cheaper. For instance, the Spectrum Plus 3 has got a problem with its sound, factory issue problem with the sound. It was incorrectly done, but sent out to market because it was rushed out, which there is a fix for now, because otherwise you get a terrible sound off a Spectrum Plus 3.
What's the fix?
Best to go to Ian at Mutant Caterpillar for those sort of details, because it's not an easy one for anyone.
A hardware fix you're talking. You have to do some soldering.
Yeah, you basically you change a resistor inside for a different one, and then you have to fit it with another type of resistor. You change, I think, a couple of the transistors inside. So it's quite a complicated fix, but not majorly complicated. Mm-hmm. It's just a step above. I'm sure you've composite modded a Spectrum. Have you ever done one of those?
No, I've tried to composite mod an Aquarius, and it stopped working after that. So that was my last attempt at video modifications.
Spectrum composite mod is a really easy one to do.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of videos on that. It's so simple. It's ridiculous. You know, it's a really easy one to do on Spectrums rather than use RF, which is sort of outdated. So it's not a difficult one to do that.
So what are you into there in your man cave shop? Is it mostly hardware, mods and repairs that you're into? Obviously you play games as well.
I play games. Obviously I like to sort of give anyone who's coded a game recently a bit of limelight, so I'll put them on YouTube, do a review. Yeah. My review is never a negative one. It's a constructive criticism one, but there's always some positives in there, you know.
And do the developers ever take your feedback and use that to modify the game?
Absolutely. A few guys send me games and ask me where I can improve them. Lee Chop Stevens will often send me an early file, and ask me what I think. He sends me a lot of games early, and there are certain people that have just got. A lot of games now are developed with the AGD engine developed.
And that is what? Advanced Graphics Game Designer? Something? What is it?
Yeah.
Arcade Game Designer, I think.
It's easy because it's on a computer. They don't really need to know too much about coding, but they all tend to be the same old type of game. But occasionally you get a breakout game where someone's graphic design, they've got a real eye for pixels, and game mechanic is really good. So you get a few great games from that particular, but they all tend to be platformers. But where people originally back in the day would be writing code and source code from scratch, you know. And that's why you get you get a good bedroom coding scene.
Now I know where to send my games to get tested.
For the Commodore, for the Spectrum, for the BBC, everybody can program a game for that, where it's just one man in his bedroom or one man in his lounge or in his garage or whatever can do it, right? Mm-hmm. If you need to develop a game for something like the Mega Drive or the Dreamcast, one man cannot do a game for that. You need a team of people. You need a graphics designer. You need someone to write the code, someone to do the music, someone to do the gameplay. So you need So the reason why you don't get so many games on that, you need a Kickstarter to create a game for that, to pay these people to create games for that. Where with these older 8-bit systems, people can literally start learning basic programs, and then if they like, move on to a bit of Z80 coding to help things run a bit quicker and a bit faster, because you can amalgamate between basic and code. So you only need to learn the code you need to help your game run a little bit smoother, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to be advanced, you go all the way into learning coding, don't you? Which is, you know, having the time these days. You know, when you get people like Jonathan Smith, or Joffa as we know him, create a game at the age of 14 called Pud Pud. Which wows you to this day that
Pud
someone.
Pud. I haven't seen that one. PUD or
Pud Pud.
PUD?
I can always send you the tap file, Pud Pud, from Jonathan Smith. There was an interview with him.
Jonathan Smith, okay.
I know he's passed away a few years ago, but he was. If there was a Van Gogh of coding, I would say he was it, because it's very rare you get somebody who can code games, do their own music, do their own graphics, do their own game and story, and write that. He was the whole package. You know, he did the lot, right? And he got a good eye for graphics, and the graphics in that and the effects, they sort of blow your mind, considering someone at 14 years of age programmed this. So you could say he was the Van Gogh. He was the genius of geniuses when it comes to coding games, and I still get blown away with some of the stuff. He's got his own distinctive style. Cobra. Have you ever played Cobra on the Spectrum?
I don't remember. We didn't have as many Spectrum games here in North America. We had we had a small selection. What was it about? Was that a?
It was based on the film, but not based on the film. It was by Ocean, I believe.
Airplane game? Or?
It was a platforming game.
Oh, platform, okay.
And it was a shoot 'em up. But he was probably the first to show some sort of parallax scrolling on a Spectrum. And it's phenomenal to think that...
Which it doesn't do natively.
Which it doesn't do.
Yeah.
You've got backgrounds moving. It's all clever, you know. It's just really, really run so well. But also, he dropped the name Jonathan now. Then, and he just the words Joffa. He'd legendarily spell his name backwards, Joffa, and he'd have very unique ways of putting your name in, like the star system with the letters for when you put a high score. So, if you ever want to get into seeing what a genius coder really looks like, he's a good place to start. There are many. Let's not leave out people like Jim Badley, who's still in the coding scene to this day.
How did you get into programming?
Yeah, well, the computer teacher at school was a maths teacher, and they obviously said to him, you know maths, you can teach computers. I just taught myself faster than he could, and I was way surpassed him. Good for me, but bad in a sense, because he sort of didn't like that I was better than him, I think.
But, you know, if you want to have a look at a real legend... as not saying Jimmy isn't, of course he is.
Another real legend.
Another real legend. You need to look at someone like that and think he was 14, 15 coding for.
And did he continue making games later on in his life, or not?
I believe he dabbled in the scene for a while, but not so much.
And do you make your own games as well? Do you do any coding nowadays?
I don't. I'm afraid.
No.
I just don't have time. Between job.
Yeah.
Doing my hobby, doing a bit of a YouTube channel, which, I started about 3 years ago, really.
Yeah.
Just to share my passion with people. And of course, it kept me in the house because I was having to look after my old man who had Alzheimer's. So I couldn't really go out anywhere. So I needed something to do. Mm-hmm. So I just converted an entire room to learning on how to repair stuff. Because my dad used to be an electronics engineer.
Oh, okay.
electrician type thing.
So he taught you?
What we call a monkey's uncle. I've learnt off him, picked up snippets and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
and is this the room that you're talking about that you set up at that time?
This is one of the rooms. I've got, a semi-detached house to myself where I've got loads of junk everywhere. I just keep everything. I'm a bit of a hoarder, if you like, but I try not to go too far extreme.
Speaking of your room, obviously there's a lot of stuff and a lot of systems and a lot of games and who knows what all is in there. Do you have a certain category of systems that you like to collect? Do you only collect British machines or what?
No, I collect everything if it's something that I'm not used to. I've got the TR-80s over there. Okay. I've got an Atari 800, Atari. I haven't got the ST. I need to get one of them. I've got the Amiga.
Okay.
The Commodore Amiga. I've got some Welsh machines, the Auric Atlas, and the Dragon 32. That is a beast of a machine.
Okay.
Got it here.
That's not the one they had in the schools, right? The Dragon.
No. I'll show you a Dragon 32.
Yeah, sure. Anything you can reach, feel free to show me. I'm interested to see it. Okay, yeah, it's a nice looking machine.
It's a nice looking machine. It's a bit of it's quite light actually. It feels like there's nothing inside it, so it's not that great a machine. But I tend to, as I say, I've got a lot of systems in here. I haven't really powered that up. I'm waiting for a power supply for it.
Oh, is it a new acquisition or it's been waiting a while?
Yeah, I bought it virtually for next to nothing, and opened it up. It looked very clean. I think it's going to work, but you never know. But because I haven't got a power supply, but I just collect them in case. One, if I can get them working, great. But if not, I've got them for parts for other ones that I could be able to get working. But usually I want to get them working. I want to keep them up there running. But if I can't do it, I usually know a man that can.
Yeah.
So,
what else have you got there of interest that you're in your collection that you're proud of?
That I'm proud of?
I'm guessing you have a bunch of Speccies, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. The toast rack's got to be up there. I really like that. I love my BBC Micro.
Yeah. And do you use these systems regularly, or most of them are collecting? I use the BBC. Yeah, I use the BBC because I watch. I like the programming language, the basic programming language on that, and the Acorn Electron, which is similar. I would say the Engo is the one I use in place of the Spectrum Next because I missed the first Kickstarter. Okay, you don't have a Next.
I don't have a Next, but I have a Next. There is a Next, not Next, if you know what I mean. The Engo clone is like the better version of Next.
Do you have it handy?
Yeah.
Or if it's hooked up, don't bother.
It's kind of hooked. Actually, I can probably bring it down a little bit.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Right there. Ready to go. Yeah.
Ready to go.
Okay, yeah. How do you find typing on it? I see that one has quite a thick case compared to the Next, I think, right? The front of it is pretty high.
Chimney keyboard, isn't it? It's a nice little system. To be honest, nice to type on it. We put the camera back on, right? That's it.
And that thing's completely compatible with the Next, I believe. And
it is a Next. It's basically a Next, but the clone. It's made in Italy, I think, or Portugal.
Okay.
I can't remember where I ordered it from exactly. But it's got all the it's a Next board inside, but white, shall we say, with all the usual components.
Yeah.
But it's had the fix where you don't get the power back issue from the HDMI port, which can leave it powered up on certain TVs. So you can switch the Next off, but it's not actually switching off. It's still powered up because the power provided through the HDMI lead. So it's actually a better one than the Spectrum Next itself because of the bug fixes. But then they was able to copy and improve. But it's a cheaper version.
Okay.
It's only about £100. So
£100. That's not bad. Eh? Yeah.
Not bad. But you have to get your own case, keyboard, and everything.
Oh, you're just talking about the board.
Yeah, you get the board.
Okay.
You get the board.
And where do you get the case and keyboard from? The same company?
You can fit any Spectrum case or keyboard to it. It will fit inside the Spectrum. Plus, preferably. And it's the same SD card, the same ROM and everything. Which I've got actually up here, to be honest. So, yeah, it's Runs quite well. I think I can play you some sounds
All right.
in a moment. I don't know how well this will come across on your channel. I'll try that one, shall I? Try that one. I've got loads of games on here. I'm just going through them.
Yeah. And it has the same. Does it have the same menu interface as the Next? Do you know?
Exactly the same. It basically says Next on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's got. I've got the. Oh, I downloaded that game that you was playing the other day as well. I'm going to put a video on that too.
Is that an Omni behind you?
An Omni
on your TV behind you there. You've got looks like an Omni.
Is that Yeah. I've got two of them.
Two of them. Oh, nice.
Two of them. Omnis are quite good. Little take-out computer, really, isn't it?
Can you put the SD card solution thing in that with the screen on it, or will it not fit?
It doesn't need an SD card solution, does it? It's already got built-in DVMMC.
Does it? Oh.
Yeah. The Omni is your SD card.
Nice. Okay.
Goes into there.
Yeah.
And it's got a built-in, I don't know if this is powered up.
And it's got dip switches, I see.
Yeah, you can change it for different ROMs if you want. You can use a toast rack ROM or anything like that. Let's see if I powers it up. No, it's almost alive, but because it's flashing. Yeah, that means the battery's not quite got enough power to run the screen. Right. So I should have left it on charge. You can probably see the Amstrad 646 powered up at the back. I've also got. I'm liking this device.
Commodore Plus 4. That cursor keys look a bit awkward, but otherwise it looks like a cool layout.
To be honest, them cursor keys aren't too bad.
Oh, really?
Did you get used to it? It's not too bad.
So what is that thing?
It's basically a Commodore 16 with more memory. Commodore 16.
Is that a rare collectible machine, or is it pretty common to get that thing?
I don't know. I don't see that many of them, to be honest. But I don't think they're not coming up in price the way I perceive, But
so I have to admit I haven't seen probably enough of your videos to know the answer to this question. But do you do like unboxing videos and demonstrating these systems, or is it purely gameplay videos on your channel?
I've done various. I try to stick to my same format. I do new Spectrum games, crash reviews. Feature the occasional Commodore game or even Atari game occasionally, because I don't want to just make it all about Spectrum. Because there's, then I do have an unboxing video from Ben who sent me stuff, but I tend not to. Occasionally, I have done a soldering tutorial video, where I'm repairing, but I don't like doing that because I find it really hard to concentrate on working on stuff and filming at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I find that I'll end up making silly mistakes. And I try not to do that. But as I said to you earlier, there's plenty of people who do that sort of thing, and I don't want to step on their toes for their channel because they're good enough. Why do they need some clown like me doing the same thing?
Well, I have a kind of a different thought on that. Is that I wouldn't mind if people do the same videos that I do, and they have done, and I do. But to me, the more the merrier. If they maybe put their own spin on it, that's fine.
Yeah, there is that. I've got a high street analogy on that, and I'll elaborate now. If you was to go to a high street and there were 7 or 8 shops that were closed and only 3 open, you probably wouldn't go to that high street because it's not worth it. But if you go to a high street where all the shops are open, you're more likely to visit that one. So the more people doing the same sort of thing, you're able to watch other people's videos. So the more of us that do it, we create more people arriving. So that sort of is what I call the high street analogy. So it's good that we've got loads of content. We all differ in some way. Yeah. We're not exactly the same. Yeah. Some of them have got different sense of humours. Some are really serious, and some are not.
I think we got examples of those two right here on this recording.
Well, we like a laugh, don't we? We're just who we are. We're just ordinary people doing what we do, and
Well, that's the thing with videos too. People like a lot of times the person, right? They might not watch my videos, my soldering video, they're going to watch your soldering video because they want to see you solder, not me solder. So I think whatever you enjoy and you want to make a video.
Some people who make videos says, "Oh, you don't want to see me solder this, so I'll just sit through it." And you think, "No, I'm watching it because you're soldering. I ain't got that, you know." But I like it when they speed up the footage.
Yeah.
And I like it when they elaborate. I like people who aren't perfect. You know, I don't want to see somebody try this out, all of a sudden it works first time every time, and they haven't made any issues, because that's not reality.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause that means that it might not have worked, but off air they fixed it so as it does. But no, I don't want to see that. I want to see the mistakes in action. I want to see reality. So somebody says, well, I messed up there and I messed up there, but I've put it right. You get the story behind it, and that's interesting to me. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I've made that mistake. Yeah, I've made that mistake. And I can sit here as the soldering king on my high horse and think, yeah, rookie mistake, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, we've all done it. We've all had to learn somewhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, we learn off each other, don't we, in that sort of thing. And you get plenty. I've got loads of notifications on my computer now.
Oh, if you need to go, just let me know. I mean,
no, it's nothing. It's just people tend to text
You're
me.
Popular.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to be popular occasionally, I suppose.
I wouldn't know.
But yes, you are. You're quite good. I as I say, I do watch your content.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do share it onto my Facebook group, Retro Robbins, don't I? So
I just noticed that today. Actually, I didn't even know that you had shared my stuff. So I should follow you more closely and keep an eye on you.
I share a lot of YouTubers. I try to share for other people to see.
That's a good positive aspect of what you're doing for the community, right? It's not just all about watch my videos. It's about watch this person's videos, right?
At all, really. I like the fact that I've got so many subscribers. I'm flattered by the fact that I've got over 100, and I'm closing to 500. But it's just nice to get various content, and everybody, as I say, does something a little bit different. I've seen your tutorials on learning Z80 and stuff like that. I think it was, and it's really quite good. Your gameplay one I enjoyed. You know, you've got something there for the next. You and TJ's different. TJ's more...
He swears more than I do.
He swears more than you do, but he's a bit more wacky, you know.
He has a lot more energy.
A lot more energy for a guy that doesn't look, you know, who must be employed at Christmas for Santa Claus a lot.
Oh, isn't that just like pillow comforting? You want to sleep to it? Jetpack is loading. Ultimate play the game. It's 1980. I'm going, oh, look at those graphics. This is kick-ass. Okay.
But he's a fun guy. And that you can see he shows his passion for that, and it comes across. And let's be honest, when you're a 16 or 14-year-old lad, the last thing you want to be is a serious person playing computer games. You was there, you was fun, you was excited. And I tried to put some of that enthusiasm that I had back, because that's what I had as a kid. Oh yeah, look at this! Wow, man, this is cool and all this.
Yeah, actually, are your videos one take, or do you do a lot of editing?
No, my videos are usually within 10-minute segments, and I just piece them all together, and I put a break, a symbol in between. Okay. And what it is, I'll see a game, and I think, oh, go and play that, record that, job done. Play that, record that, job done, and let's try this Commodore game, and then I'll do a speech about the Commodore game. And then I'll put them all together, and that's the Retro Robbins show. You know, I'll start with the intro, a few thank yous for people who have made stuff for me, like my AY tune, beeper tunes, or any graphics on the screen that you might see. Or anybody that sent anything towards the Crash cover tape, because I'll announce what's on the next cover tape, or I'll read for the latest Crash magazine, which I do tend to get an early copy of, but I try not to reveal it too much because you don't want to spoil it for everybody else. So as soon as I know the community have got theirs being delivered, I'll look through it and I'll have a look at what's being reviewed. A lot of times I know what's going to be reviewed because I've already reviewed it. It's like the Spectrum show. Paul Jenkins only produces one show really once a month, but it's always interesting to see what he's got on in content-wise. And the same with Jeff, who's got a good channel as well. Doesn't do as much content as I like, but he does some great stuff. He writes games. Yeah.
Do you submit articles to Crash yourself? Any reviews or any other articles in that magazine?
Not need to. There's enough people doing that. I don't
Yeah.
need to. And besides, I don't think anybody really wanting that much. I do my own crash cover.
Don't sell yourself
show.
short. I'm sure they'd want to see your point of view on things. I would. That's why I'm talking to you now, right?
Yeah, well, that's very kind.
I'm going to force my viewers to watch you as well. So there you go.
I recently did a video which didn't go down too well on this Dreamcast game, which was
Izzy, Intrepid Izzy.
yeah, because Dreamcast is a really underrated system, but that was quite a really good game. For something that they don't make games for, that's a Kickstarter, and they come with little figurines and that, and I enjoyed that. But I recently did something like that, and I've submitted a review to I think it was one of the Dreamcast magazines, but didn't make the
if people want to submit their games to Crash Magazine cover tape, can they do that? How do they do that?
If they want me to send them to me, basically, just PM me on Facebook, and because you can send TAP files or TZX files if they've got TAP or TZX format, send that to me, and I can probably get that looked at. And if it's good enough, it gets included on the next Crash cover tape, and a little write up to them. There's no money involved. I do it for free.
Do you get a lot of submissions?
Not as many as I'd like.
Oh, so you want more?
Yeah, obviously one more.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
So is there a link or something I can publish that people can submit their...
You can email me.
Email you, okay.
Yeah, Ace Wayne, ACEWAYNE 27 at live.co.uk. If somebody wants to email me and tell me a bit about their game, and they can get in touch with me that way. Or if they're on Facebook, any World of Spectrum, Spectrum for Everyone, Sinclair Society, Retro Robbins, they can message me, PM me via that, because I'm always answering messages via that. Okay. So there's plenty of ways to get in contact. I've had a guy from Canada send me his Castle Escape game for the Christmas tape. That was absolutely awesome.
I think I saw that one being posted in one of the Facebook groups.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game to go on the Christmas
I've been meaning to download that, but I haven't yet. He has an itch, does he?
Yeah. Now that's the thing, because if it's on itch, right?
Yeah.
I always put links on my channel to where they can download. But if people do download stuff for, I say the cover tape you pay for, but I'm not making any money for that. But we don't offer download. You go to itch for that, and hopefully that'll encourage them to contribute.
Yeah.
And help. Now, if somebody's spent a few days, a few hours, a few weeks creating a game, give them a bit of reward.
Yeah.
It'll encourage them to create another game and probably do even better, because the more popular the game, the more chance it's going to get more downloads, and it gets reviewed by loads of people on the channel, which reaches audiences everywhere. And it's good to see. It's a creative community, and people want to see people branching out and showing their creativity. What's more better than getting your name on a Crash cover tape? It's a badge of honour.
I don't know. I'll let you know once I get my name, my game on a Crash cover tape. So,
well, it'll be anything program I'll definitely put down there. And
what systems do they need to be for? Does it have to be for the Speccy, I'm guessing?
If it's
Crash
for the
is Speccy, right?
It's mainly Spectrum 128K.
Yeah.
If you can make it backwards compatible, if you're using AY music, there is a way of doing it so that it loads the AY music afterwards, the code for that afterwards, and it'll stop at the Spectrum. Or if you've got 128K with AY music, so I like AY music in the game, adds a bit of atmosphere to the game.
How about the next? Can you program for the next?
You can do the next, but the next is more of an SD. To get a tape file for the next to load, I haven't really tried on a cover tape yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure as long as it's not too big a file, it can be done. Yeah, if you can get it so that it's in a TAP format, TZX format, So as we can basically record it onto tape, so as people can load it from tape. Yeah, we can do that as well.
Because you can load tape games into it next if you have the right cable. Right?
Yeah, you need a stereo to... I'll show you the cable, I'll put it here.
It's the same with your NGO, I'm guessing. It probably has the same ports.
Same thing, it's a +3 cable. All it is a stereo to 2 mono. I'll show you one now. I've got one to hand.
All right.
They're cheap, they're not expensive. I'll explain it. Right.
All right.
I'll explain it like this. You've got a stereo output end like that.
Yeah.
And it goes to 2 mono jacks. Right, this one goes into your NGO, your Spectrum Plus 3, or your Next.
Okay.
And the 2 mono jacks that you get will look like that. Right? And if it was a stereo signal, you get your left channel there and your right channel there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically 2 of those. And on the left channel, it probably loads games, but on the right channel, it uses to record. So that's an output and input, but from one end. And that's what the Spectrum Plus 3 does if you want to save the tape. So all they've done is they've continued that with the Spectrum Next. You know, if you've got a stereo output and you want to separate the channels, left and right, that's what that leads for, really. So it's not an uncommon need. It's just...
so the stereo end goes into the Next, and each mono goes into the, ear and
your
mic?
left channel and your right channel.
Oh, so you need a tape player that has a left and right channel outputs?
No.
Oh.
All it is one will be for an input of sound and one will be for an output of sound. So the one end is for playing games into your Next, so as it loads.
Okay.
The other end is if you save via, a TAP file, you can save to cassette. Simple as that.
Okay.
It's a record and play system,
Oh.
So just like on a vintage tape deck.
Oh, I see. So basically the Next has 1 port instead of 2 for save and record.
Yeah.
Save and load.
You've got a mic in here, haven't you?
Mm.
On a tape, on a vintage tape deck, mic and ear. And it's just basically that, really. The mic you use to record. So when you type save speech, whatever your game is, speech, you basically you press enter. It wants to save it to tape. Normally, it can do that, and you press record on your tape player. You need the mic in, so as you record the sound. But if you want to play a cassette, you need the ear to play the sound into the Spectrum Next. So you've got 2 ends to the same cable. It's a cheap enough cable. It's about £3.
And what projects are you working on at the moment, other than preparing your next video?
I haven't really done anything to prepare my next video, to be honest. I've got plenty of, I've got things that I've got as an idea for the next video. I like to keep it fresh. I want new games, as well as the next Crash, which is going to be up to issue 9 next, which has only got 1 Crash Smash in it. That's games that got a Crash Smash who's 90% or above, but in the early issues it was whether they consider it a Crash Smash. It could be 88%, and they'd say it was a Crash Smash.
So who's reviewing them to give that rating?
These are reviews that were done from back when Crash was first released, back in 84, 85.
You're talking about old games then?
Old games that I'm re-reviewing for the era. And I'm thinking, did they deserve to be a Crash Smash? Was they good, or was they being generous? So I play them and I'll give them my review. And a lot of the times they are good enough to be a Crash Smash. You have to put yourself back in that day when everything was fairly new to people. They can be pretty good like that to have a look. But also, you go through Crash and you find games that you haven't seen before, and you've got over 10,000 games to the Spectrum. There's no way everybody has ever played every one and know what they are.
And some people are trying to collect everyone, aren't they?
Some people will try, but not all of them were released on tape, in this country. So,
how would people get them then? If they're not on tape, how do you get them?
Different countries release their own version. A lot of them you can download that file. So there's a lot of missing software called Lost in Action.
Yeah.
A lot of it distribution denied, but there are ways and means to find to get to download. But yes, there's that many games.
So you're talking about the old Crash magazine, then? You read the old Crash magazine, look at a review.
Yeah,
for
I
a
had
game,
the entire collection. I've got the entire collection. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can buy a disc with all the magazines on from the internet. Same with Sinclair user, Sinclair programs, and your Sinclair. It's a disc with all the RAM, with all the magazine information on. So you can do it via that, which is what I use on the show. But I originally bought all the magazines, and that was part of my childhood growing up. Crash would come out once a month. The reason why I bought Crash primarily was for the reviews. If you're going to buy a game, you want to know a bit about the game.
Yeah.
If the review says the game stinks, you tend to stay away from it.
Yeah.
If the review says, "Oh, this is brilliant, this is the best game in the sliced bread," and you've got a bit of money, that's the game you go for. A couple of times that'll be a great idea. Sometimes that'd let you down. But generally speaking, a lot of the games that were given a Crash Smash were indeed worth buying back then. Although there was various prices, you know. But there were games that wasn't given a Crash Smash that are actually quite good, that you wouldn't have bothered with. I've played plenty that were in the 70s rating that are really quite good and really enjoyable games, but you don't hear about them anymore. And, you know, I'm thinking, well, surely they need a bit to be reminded of these particular games. So I try to discover like that. Because I'm discovering Commodore games for the first time, really, because I never really stuck with the Commodore.
Okay.
I do reviews on that as well. So I've come across some cracking Commodore games, which are absolutely brilliant. And I enjoy doing that sort of thing too. So, yeah.
Do you play these games on an emulator?
No, all on original hardware.
Oh.
Emulation is simulation that I don't want. The closest thing I've got to an emulator is the Spectrum, Diengo, which is basically a Spectrum. I don't consider that emulation. You know, that's it's running real hardware.
Yeah.
And I very often the music you hear in the background will be off a Spectrum Plus 3, a Spectrum Toast Rack, or even the SID sound from a Commodore 64.
The music we hear in the background of your videos, you're saying?
Yeah.
You mean it's not the music from the game you're playing?
Some games don't have music in them. The 48K versions don't. They have bleeper sound effects and that.
Okay.
Some of the games do, so it is music from the game. And I do state that, and I make that clear.
Oh, okay.
And I say music's from the Toast Rack, and it's the game that you can hear, because I try to put some classic sounds in. And there's a lot of great AY tunes out there that are quite iconic and quite representative of the game themselves. Some don't suit the game, some do. But yeah, I tend to use a lot of background music that way. I find that, you know, makes a bit of atmosphere as well. You don't want just hear me talking on the quiet. I put games in, I put music in. Tell you what I can do for you right now. Let me just find my... I've got it. I'll plug this back in.
Okay.
And here's my sound that I unplugged to show you the cable. And I can show you the sound. Can you hear that okay? Should be able to.
I hear some, clicking.
Yeah, I'm
Doesn't
just
sound like music.
That's me going down.
Okay, yeah.
My starting titles have got their own distinct theme tune.
Okay. Beeper music.
That's not beeper.
That's AY.
Why?
I don't know if I'm getting both channels. It goes from low to high. Is that what it's supposed to sound like?
Probably. There's two channels.
Okay.
Turn it up. Is that too loud?
No, not too loud. It's a little lower than your voice level, so it probably sounds louder to you than to me.
That's one of them.
Well, is that from an iconic game?
No, that's something that I've got on my own. That's my, shall we say, take on it. The original one that I use is probably this one from. This is the one you hear my starting titles to, I think. You recognise it?
Oh, now I can hear it. Yeah.
Very quiet. All right. Well, I can do
there now. It's coming through.
Yeah, but when I'm speaking, it's probably cutting me off. That's the Beach Boys tune, one that you associate with the surfing tune. I use that at the start, and the reason why I use that, it's a bit of there's a lot of hidden Easter eggs in my show. And the first show I used, I had Cool Spot playing in the background for the Mega Drive, and I liked it, so I got someone to do me an AY version of Cool Spot.
Oh.
And that's from Matthew Lowe, who did that, and he done a fantastic job of it. And I've used it ever since because it's got energy that I want. Because I'm getting excited, I'm there, I'm straight away, I'm ready to go. I'm going, hello everybody, welcome to the Retro Robbins Show, and we've got lots of things on today's show. We've got some great new games, we've got some Spectrum Next games, we're going to have a look at a Commodore game that I've recently done, and we've got some more homebrew games. So if you love a bit of 8-bit and you want a bit of 8-bit gaming fun for the weekend, join me now on the Retro Robbins Show. Hit the tiles, away we go. So
I'm guessing you don't need a script.
No, I'm pretty... I do a lot of it off the cuff. I don't need a script to do it, I try not to stutter. Sometimes I go a bit quiet. When I go quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. When I'm trying to get past something, you'll start... Because a lot of the gameplay is actual gameplay that I'm doing. No recorded footage. It's original. It's me actually playing it. Helps to have a good memory, doesn't it? Come over this side of the maze, please. Yay. I'm having that. Thank you. Thank you. Can I get that pill? Yeah. I've got them all. I've got them all. Great. I've got to the next level. That's something I didn't expect to get to. Level changes again. In fact, the sprite to the Pac-Man changes again. The map's completely different this time round. Got ya. I think it helps if you can destroy them before... Oh yeah, we've got a bomb. Want to be nowhere near that when it explodes. So I've only got a certain amount of time in order to get all of them before you die. Impressive. Very hard, but not a bad take on a Pac-Man game. And for the Commodore 64, of anybody playable, the only thing that lets it down is the fact they've had to provide my own sound. Did you guess the game in the background? The game was a Batman game for the Spectrum, of course. Beeper, rather than AY. Now, off the camera, when you're not recording gameplay, I'll fly through the levels like it's really easy. I've completed plenty of games. Yeah. I've completed Manic Miner. I never completed Jet Set Willy, but I've completed a lot of games that were quite tough. But when you start filming, lo and behold, you'll make silly mistakes because you're talking, your concentration's divided, and you look a complete clown. But it does inspire people to want to go and pair up their Ringo or their Spectrum Next and play that game to see if they can do better. That's what TJ does for me. When he plays a game, and I'm thinking, TJ, you're absolutely dreadful at this. I've got to go and play it myself.
Round one. Hey, this is Vibrant. Okay, there I am. Okay, there's the color I need to change to. Don't fall in any holes. Oh, you can jam. Don't fall off the ledge. Can I touch that pill? Oh, I think I can touch him, right? Oh! Rip! I got ripped! Dang it!
So I go and play it and just smash the score that he's done just to prove to myself that I'm not that bad, So he can inspire you to play these games, but also sometimes you see things that you haven't seen before. For instance, the recent game that came from Zolsha Entertainment and Tasha.
Zoisha! Rubino Cucaracha! There he is, he's got the mustache. Screw you, Bruno! Oh, he's got a bat! You bastard! Get away from me! You son of a bee!
Unfortunately, we can't get them anymore.
That's true, that we can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
We can if we go through various channels.
Oh, can you? Oh, can you get the physical game still, do you know, or just the downloads?
The last one I got, I can get the downloads. I can't get the physical games because their games are unbelievably collectible, aren't they? Their box. Have you seen their box sets?
I own most of them. Yeah,
they're fantastic. Yeah,
I'll just give you a little tour. If we can reach. All right. Well, I think
Yes.
those are where? Here? There.
Have you got Metal Man Remix? So I
Uh,
can see Angels is a great game. Valley of Range, yes. I
okay.
can see that.
Let's see if I can see. Angels, yeah.
Yeah, that was a cracking game.
Comes with, I think is this the poster? Comes with a poster.
Yeah.
And that's for this one, Valley of Rains. And they all have this cool, see my lighting is probably cool
No, it's
window
fine.
in the
See.
back.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? I don't remember
They are.
boxes being that good.
This
Yeah.
game is good. Have you tried this one?
Yeah,
Come on,
I've played that. I've got it, yeah.
Just, it's,
The,
I don't know why they
the-
named it this. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me anymore, sorry. I don't know why they named it this, Just a Gal, but it's actually a motorcycle racing
Yeah,
game.
I know.
A really good motorcycle racing game.
I think that's homage to Natasha herself, isn't it? 'Cause she's the main image. Drift 2.0 I've got as well.
They have a Drift 2.0.
Yeah, there's a new version. The Dark Pages, that's a great game. Yeah, that's cool.
And this is the one. What can I do here? This is the one that has the really cool the booklet for this one. They actually made, and I'm sure you probably know, they made a promotional video just for the booklet for this. For this
Yeah.
thing, because it's really impressive. And this
Yes,
is all
that's
done
what
by
I
hand,
missed out on.
Right? Oh, it's probably backwards for you guys because, well, it's going to be backwards because my video.
No, it looks clear for me.
Yeah.
The text is right. You're not mirror moded if that's what you're looking at.
Yeah. The non-mirror
You can
version is
switch. You can
fuzzy.
switch the image though, can't you? In OBS.
And there's, see this gold. Can you see this gold leaf kind of? Well, whatever.
Yeah.
This gold outline. This is all drawn, I think, all colored in manually. Anyway, so yeah, that's really, and it's all stitched here.
That's amazing,
Little-
isn't it?
Little touches make it really. This one is
Travel through time.
About travel through time racing game.
Brilliant game as well.
Yeah. See, I think that's. Oh, I think this is the one. Sorry, you were asking about Metal.
Yeah, that's a quality game. I love that. Yeah.
Metal Man.
I've had a few hours fun with that one. That was the last one that we was able to get, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last one that managed to arrive. Yeah, I've got a majority of them. I haven't got the Dark Pages. I missed that one out. But what you pay for them, then worth it because you get a lot in there. You get a CD,
Yeah.
you get tape, you get everything you need. And I mean,
Yeah. You get a poster. You get all kinds of.
you get
cool
the soundtrack
stuff.
as well, don't you? You get the soundtrack.
This one doesn't come with a poster, but the Angels one, or CD.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So some come with a poster, or I guess one came with a poster, the Valley of Rains, and yeah, nice to have those little goodies in your games.
It makes to me they're going to be really collectible. They're going to be really collectible because the coding scene in Russia is huge because they sort of went onto the ZX80. They cloned the Spectrum a lot over there. There's so many variants of it, the same as in Portugal and Poland. They didn't really go for Commodore. They sort of went for the Spectrum. France went for the Auric and the Amstrad more. But there's a big coding scene over there of people developing games, and so that's where they don't use the AGD engine or
No.
AGD2.
No, they're doing.
They're using proper code.
They're using magic, I think, to make this
They
gigantic
do
sprite.
amazing things.
Since obviously you're familiar with the Speccy games. Is there anything similar to these that you can think of that had something approaching this technology? Large sprites moving around that in this kind of quality with I think they even have scrolling backgrounds,
games that
right?
blow me away. The games that have really taken it to a next level is Hardy meets the Space Monsters. That is a clever game. You need to, if you're using the Next, you need to use it using not the HDMI output because you won't get the timing right. The reason why that is because the Spectrum itself is a text-based system, so you've only got paper and ink.
Yeah.
So you only get two colours, hence the reason why the colour clash is renowned. People have worked around that. Well, if you go to a game like Gandalf or Hardy meets the Space Monsters, it doesn't look like a Spectrum game. It doesn't play like a Spectrum game. It's very rapid. The sound is brilliant. And the reason why it doesn't play or look like a Spectrum game, but it will run off a normal 128K Spectrum, not a 48K one. It has got is the graphics. When you see the graphics, there are actually 4 colours as opposed to 2. And you think, you can't do that. You cannot do that. I know the memory, you can't do that. How are you doing that? And it took a little device for me to discover how they're doing that. And I plugged my multi-face, I loaded the tape version, and I plugged my multi-face 1 to 8 in the back so I could screen memory shot it, because I had a hunch. And I loaded the game, playing. It plays absolutely brilliantly. It then looks like there's 4 colours in one graphical square as opposed to 2. Now the reason why it does that is a trickery of the eye. It's actually flashing between 2 colours rapidly. Very rapidly indeed. And because you're seeing 2 colours flashing rapidly, it looks like there's 4 there. So when you press the non-memory, which freezes the screen, you only get 2 colours showing, and if you let go and go back to running it and then do it again, you get the other 2 colours. You pop it around, and you're thinking, very clever, very clever. It's called the Nirvana engine, I believe, that they're running it off.
Okay,
but it's really clever. I'll send you that if you've not played that game. That's one for you on your channel. You're going to love it.
The device that you mentioned, what's it? The face what?
The multi-face one.
That allows you to what? Record the screen while it's running, or freeze it, or both?
It basically freezes the memory as it's shown on the screen there, and then runs a program. Don't know if I've got one to hand. I normally have. I've usually got about 3 or 4 of them, but lo and behold, right now, not available.
So it prints an entire screen and then flips to the next one with the different colours.
Yeah, it's it just freezes the memory so you can do a snapshot or save it to tape, because it was a way of copying things via your Spectrum saving it. Multi-face 1 to 8. I build them actually. I've built one.
You build them?
Yeah, you can rebuild them.
You mean from scratch?
Yeah, from scratch. That will fit in the back of a Spectrum.
Okay.
And you press that. You can also save it to cartridge, and that. So.
Save it to cartridge.
Yeah, you can save cartridge, which is. Let me show you. Familiar with that?
Micro drive.
Micro drive, yeah. You can actually save your games to micro drives so they load a bit quicker.
Okay, yeah.
Using one of them and the interface one.
Okay.
Which I use that a lot actually.
Yeah.
People say they're unreliable and it stretches the tape, but I've never had any problems in the years I've used them, so I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
Whether it's the build quality of the micro drive itself may cause issues, I don't know.
Do you have a QL in your collection?
I do, yes, just up here.
Okay. Because that has a micro drives built in as well, right?
Yeah. You can also get an SD card solution micro drive,
Oh,
which I happen to have. Yeah. Oh yeah, you showed me your ZX81, didn't you?
yeah. Actually, I prefer the ZX81 case because it has your nice ZX81 embossed or raised printing there.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We just have a little sticker up here. So.
Timex Sinclair one
Yeah.
there. Is it?
And I think your video thing is repositioned differently. So what are you connecting that to?
That's a micro drive.
Oh, you
with
connect
SD.
that to your multi-face.
No, I'll connect that straight into my next or straight to a. But what
Oh,
that
that says
does,
QL on it. Was that the one you showed me earlier, or that's something different?
yeah, that clicks to the QL. You can put an SD card solution in there.
Oh, that's
So-
an SD card.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a micro drive. It emulates a micro
Oh,
drive.
okay. Oh,
You get
yeah.
some in, and let's put some light on for you.
Nice.
Should be able to see that better now.
Mm-hmm.
So
SD
use
card
an
solution for the QL.
QL, yeah,
Nice.
basically
Too
plugs
bad.
in.
Why doesn't it plug in the side?
It does. Plugs into the side of the QL.
I thought the side of the QL has a wide card edge
You can daisy
connector.
chain. You can daisy chain with the QL. just
Oh,
like-
okay.
If I show you the side of the QL there,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh,
you
the-
can daisy chain. So basically, I think you got one. You got a big cartridge you can plug in underneath it,
okay.
but you can effectively just daisy chain that into there like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what that does. Which I'll leave on display up here somewhere usually. Keep it off your camera, don't I? Keep shooting out.
No
But you
worries.
get other things you can. There were 3 different places you can put peripherals in an STL. There's one in the back, there's one in the side, and there's the micro drive expansion, so you can have more micro drives if you want.
Okay.
I think you can have up to 4. I don't use the QL though because it's, as I say, it's not the best system you get. But
Yeah, the keyboard I found a bit sticky to use. Pushing those keys down all wedged right next to each other. Do you have any problem with that?
not really.
No.
It's probably age where if
Maybe.
the plastic swells any, it's going to catch each other.
Yeah.
That's usually it. Because obviously, it depends where it's been. Plastic warps. You know, if keyboards start sticking, you know, when you get keys that don't want to go up, it's because the plastic's warped.
Mm.
You know, it's catching its edge,
Yeah.
and that's what happens. You can get, if you leave it in the sunlight. I've seen keys that have virtually been left in a window that won't move at
Oh.
all on Spectrum Plus mount because the plastic warps. So don't leave these things in hot direct sunlight, or you will ruin your keys. You know, it's the way it goes.
Do you refurbish computers other than fixing the electronics at all?
Yes, I refurbish them. Yeah,
Do you do
I do that all the time. Yeah.
what do
But
they
I-
call it when you make the plastic white again?
Retro brighting.
Yeah, it's got your name in it. You should know it.
Retro brighting, that's what they call it. I don't do that. I just shut up, emo.
Is that something people can buy? That little your little
That's just
What?
an ordinary Spectrum
Well,
in a
that's
blue
blue.
case. Yeah, because you can buy the cases, replacement cases in any
yeah
colour.
yeah.
So
You fix that one and put a different case on it.
yeah, because the case was knackered.
What's his name? Emu?
Emo.
Emo. And people can buy that thing, or is that something you got special?
You can buy it from Living AI, but they're it's an artificial intelligent robot, isn't it?
It's creepy.
Emo.
It's freaking me out. Stop staring at me, Emo.
Emo. Say hello.
Hello,
That's the
Emo.
thing.
Don't be shy. Will he talk to me? Does he respond to people like Alexa? Or
He can do.
looks like he's actually looking at me. It's freaky.
No worries.
Emo. Emo. He's not listening now. Emo.
Looks like he's listening. Oh, you made him mad.
I can do that by shaking him.
Oh, now he looks dizzy. Oh, no.
He gets angry.
So he dances to your background beeper music in your videos and stuff, right?
He's clever. It's got about three quite clever bits of circuitry inside him. It's emerging technology. It's one of the Easter eggs on the show. There's a reason why I've got it. There's three hidden Easter eggs. Some people understand it. Some people look for the Easter eggs because I grew up with films with Easter eggs in them. You know, if you looked at what was it? There was a lot of films, especially from the day, will have a hidden Easter egg in them. I think Close Encounters. In that film, there was a little ET hidden somewhere.
Oh, yeah? Was there?
Yeah, and you know the way that they do. Well, I do that in my show. I put Easter eggs around, and emo is an Easter egg, basically, because we're playing technology from yesterday with games from the current, and AI is emerging technology. So you get the three themes of time there: the past, the present, and potentially the future. Because AI is it is technology in its infancy, isn't it? So that's why emo's there. Is basically technology. There's a pixel art thing there, which is a display, because that's where it all began. Before we've gone on to the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 with amazing graphics, and coders from them days learnt on machines like that, and it's a progression of that code. Do you know what I mean? You have to remember where the beginning was in order to know the process of where you've got to is. Rage Software, you know, Ultimate Play the game originally. People from there, you've heard of a game obviously called Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Derby, which is, you know, about 50 miles up the road from where I live. There is a road called Lara Croft Way there now. Well, that's where Tomb Raider was developed for the PlayStation. You know, the team from there.
Okay.
And of course, they're all from people who started the coding scene from the ZX81 Spectrum progression. You know, that's sort of lost, you know, on today's society where computers, people don't see the code behind the code. Do you know what I mean? They just see the game that helps them develop the game. But they don't realise that behind that game, behind the development tool, there's lines and lines of code. With Spectrums, Commodores and early micros, you had to know what that code was in order to get the game to run. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But nowadays, people can design a game, they'll shoot something, and then they'll get a program, and it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? They don't see the code beyond the code.
Yeah.
So somebody has got to have the knowledge to create that code for you to create the game using that code. And that's what's lost on the youth of today. They don't see that.
So the games can only get so innovative, I think, using a game generation tool like that, right? You're limited by what the tool can do.
Well, that's where games from the past, where you've got limitation, creates creativity. Mm-hmm. If you're limited within a box window, so that you know with the memory map of the Spectrum, you've only got so much code that you can use. So you have to, in order to make a game playable, you have to be more imaginative. You know, you can't just put a big story arc and scene after scene after scene. And with limitation, people get around it with creativity, and they create some fantastic games that are still playable today. That wouldn't look any good on a PlayStation 4, obviously. Yeah. But you know, you don't get that sort of creativity anymore. You know, you don't get that sort of inventfulness and like you used to. You still get occasional shining examples.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you go back to Minecraft, which is a modern game, which is a throwback to an era of old pixels.
Yeah, it's the ultimate pixel art.
It's the ultimate pixel art because it's old pixels. And you're thinking, well, why would somebody want that? But they did. Well, it's Lego, isn't it? Yeah. It's a digital version of Lego in my book.
And it proves you don't need graphics to make a game.
Yeah, you don't need great graphics to make a great game.
Yeah.
You can play Space Invaders. It's still the same old shoot 'em up today, but it's still a good play.
Yeah. Speaking of games, since you do game reviews, and I know you watched my game demo review on the Chuchalane the Great, or however you're supposed to pronounce that thing, what are your thoughts on it?
Huh? Turnanog, Scottish, isn't it? Really?
Turnanog. And how do you pronounce the sequel? Dundalk?
Dundalk.
I won't even attempt that one.
It's just
yeah. I haven't played the two original games. What what are your thoughts on the new demo compared to the originals? Are the things that I commented on, are they limitations because it's trying to copy No.
All it's basically done, it's coloured it in, but because it's coloured it in, and it's colour sort of thing. From what I can see, I've not actually played the game. Might be different.
Yeah.
When you first played Turner Nog, and you saw his hair, which is pixel art, flapping in the wind as he walked, and he got like a stump. For the time, that was amazing graphics. You know, you knew there was a lot of code just to create his hair movement, you know, and the whole movement. There was a lot of there just for the sprite animation itself, you know, and it was almost right scale, you know. Manic Miner was a simple two sprites on top of each other, if you know what I mean,
right.
Graphic. But it was effective. But then you got a full-size bloke that looked like it was back in the day. And even the loading screen where you saw the forest in the back and the face sort of thing, that would get you into that sort of darker realm from a more ancient time. And I thought it was brilliant. But if you're going to do a recreation of something like that and you're going to colour it in, you're going to not see as many pixels as you would do on the original, and it looks great, colourful graphics. It's a Spectrum Next version of an old game, but it's an old game.
Right.
It's still the old game, and that's where I'm a little bit, shall we say, disheartened with the Spectrum Next, because people are just reinventing the wheel. They're not thinking outside the box and creating something new. You know. It's like somebody did Bomb Jack on the Next. It's great. It's more like the arcade, but it's just reinventing the wheel, isn't it? You know, it's the real new games are still being created for the Spectrum. You know, you take that latest one from Angels for the Spectrum, Zolsha, new game. That's not old. It's new.
Yeah.
When you see the street lamp flashing on the side, the flickering lamp, or, you know, as the car goes by, the side of the building lights up as the car goes by and then fades. It's only using three colours, blue and yellow, and then back to blue as it goes past. But that's just clever detail. You know, those little details, you know, you've not really got colour clash. Shows clever coding, shows, you know, people have put real thought and effort into doing this. Where, you know, you get the Spectrum Next, you will get somebody break through the next level. You know, it's got to be. The more units we get out there, the more the people will get into programming, and the more they're able to learn basic, they move on. And if we can get the youth to embrace the Spectrum Next, that's where the coding geniuses will come from. Not from 50-year-old aging people, you know, who've still got a day job and families to feed, and can only tinker on a weekend. It will come from the young. If we can get the young involved with the Spectrum Next, they're going to hit the bedroom, they're going to learn a bit of code, and that's where brilliance will really come from. But getting that young demographic to be interested in older technology will be quite hard. Do you know what I mean? It will be quite hard.
I don't know what they will be interested in. I have a couple of questions that just come to mind from what you said, and they're related. One is, when you're reviewing a game, but I guess your games that you review, they're old games, so obviously they're made on old hardware. Third question now, do you review any new games?
Yes.
Okay, then my question will be still valid. When you review a game, do you take into account the technical capabilities of the hardware as to how impressive you think this game is in relation to the hardware it was created for?
Well, considering that they've got created using a lot of times using the AGD engine, I tend to find that they're all the same but slightly different sprites.
So most of the games you review are made with the engine?
They're all platformers. They've all got the same jump mechanic.
Oh, why is that? Why do you only review platformers?
It's the limitations of the development tool, I suppose. You've got to various sounds you can choose, various.
Yeah. But are you saying you only review games like that?
No, not all of them are like that now. Some, I mean, the latest one from Zolsha, that's different. That's not developed using that tool.
So that one, I'm guessing you're impressed with that one, right?
Yeah, that's a team of people. You've played it, haven't you?
I haven't played it. I've seen. I don't know if you did the review. I think you were talking about it, maybe. But yeah, I saw you talking about that game somewhere.
I'll have to send you the files when we're. I'll send you the files over.
Actually, when I saw you talking about it, I looked for that to see if there's a physical version, but the physical versions aren't available.
You play. It's as good as Angels.
Yeah.
Angels. You've played Angels?
I haven't played it. I've seen. I don't actually play games. I just make them and
you need
review
to play
them.
them.
Yeah.
You need to play them and review them.
I've spent so many years playing games that. Yeah, I don't actually find the games too appealing. Most of them, like I'm not going to play the next platformer. If I find something interesting,
Angels is a beat 'em up, isn't it? Really, it's just a beat 'em up Angels. So you should be pretty easy to pick that up.
Yeah.
This is very. Yeah, they're worth giving a go. I mean, if you want to see something special, I'll send a couple of tap files, and you think, well, this is brilliant music. But occasionally, you do with the new games get people that have got great graphic eye and great, shall we say, design of a game where even though it's the same, because the jump mechanic I hate is. Have you played Manic Miner?
Yeah. Back in the day, not recently.
When you play Manic Miner...
You can't move him once he's moving, right? Yeah.
When you've committed to a jump on Manic Miner, so you run along, you jump, right? You have to be very pixel perfect to land that jump a lot of the times. But when you've committed to the jump, you can't suddenly just turn around in mid-air and change your mind.
No.
Yeah? Gravity doesn't work that way. If you jump forwards, you carry on forwards. Yeah, well, that's gravity, isn't it? Yeah? With this jump mechanic, you can jump, but you can change direction in the air. You know, if you just go back, and I hate that part because gravity doesn't work like that, and it simplifies the game, makes it easier. It makes it so you can change your mind and try again. Oh, didn't quite get back. No, you committed. Once you're fully committed, you either die or you survive.
As in life.
The jump mechanics with these games are, and they've all got the same sort of sounds and collections. But occasionally you get somebody who does work with that and create something new.
So in the game designer, do you have to use that mechanic? You can allow you to go backwards halfway through a jump?
Yes, I think a lot of the games with AGD just have that option in to do a jump. That's how it works. You can't change it. But there are people who think out the box and who create games. I mean, there are ones that run with creative art games. Triangle, Circle, Square was one, which was unique. I've not seen one like that. Ringo, that was unique. I thought that was clever. And a lot of games that they're cleverly done. Where you do get breakout games that are just literally different from what you used to see, and they jump out at you. It's all in the mechanic. It's all pretty good stuff, to be fair.
So if you review a game or play a game on Made for the Next, because that thing has a lot more capabilities, obviously, than the original Speccy, are you harder on a game for the Next because you know the Next can do so much more than original Speccy?
When it comes to reviewing games for the Next, I haven't done that many.
Okay.
I've done Night, and I just on the playability, but it's the same game for the Spectrum as well. Just slightly better graphics on the next version, and I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Good little platformer, good sound. The standout game for the Next at the moment is Delta Shadow. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
So I don't know if I ever let you answer the question of any projects you're working on at the moment.
I'm prepping stuff for the Zzap Live, so I'm getting myself lots of stuff ready
And
in
when is
advance. August 29th for Kenilworth, I think. I'm not sure about the exact date, I forget. But no doubt Chris will remind me as we come closer. But I want to get the Commodore 16 ready. I want to get the Commodore Plus 4 ready, Commodore 64, 64C, and the Amiga ready for Chris to take with him, with plenty of stuff to display, because it's a Commodore event that includes Amigas and all the Commodores. So it's an event especially for people who are a fan of the Zzap magazine and Commodore. Same as the Crash event, we'll have talks from different people who have coded on this machine or developed games for it, or even developed the machine itself at the event. And so it's a real geek's day out, if you like. But you know,
is it a one-day event or multi-day?
It's a one-day event. Yeah, these things will only ever be one day. You're there, you enjoy it. You can't get guests to repeatedly come back, so that's why we do it that way. But you know, we want to pack it all in one day, and you know, plenty of people make a great atmosphere, and you know, also traders get to sell some of the stuff that they've collected over the years, and people who are collectors will be there looking to see if that's one I've been after for ages. This is where your chance is to get those sorts of software or hardware that you may have escaped you back in the past and that you want now. So that's what it's all about, really, and just a fun day out, really.
Are the tickets on sale yet, or I assume you buy tickets for this thing?
Yes. Tickets are on sale for Fusion from Fusion Retro Books. Which I'll grab you a link for you later if you want. It's in the UK, so you know, if anyone's coming from abroad, there are people that have come from abroad.
Yeah.
I know that we might have the lad from Load ZX come over from Portugal.
Is that the one with the museum?
Yeah. He's come over a couple of times. He came over to Crash 14. He came over to Crash Live. And I think he had a great time at Crash Live. And he's come over to Play Expo in Blackpool, which is one we've done. He's come over to Retro Revival. He's very often coming over promoting his museum, which is phenomenal. And of course, he's got his own channel as well. We've had Ben Versteeg from Byte Delight come over a couple of times. And you get a lot of traders, people who make software and hardware. People have built their own Commodores from scratch, from new. You know, because you can buy everything virtually to make a new Commodore, except the SID chip itself, which you have to source one from a broken machine. And nobody's really, I don't believe anyone, they've done a SID FPGA version, but I don't think it's really quite backwards compatible yet. But a lot of people are hobbyists, aren't they, that like to look into the way these things work and repair them. So yeah, there's a whole variety of people who will come to these shows, and there'll be something for everybody.
So there won't be next people at this show, like it won't be a Jim Bagley, Henry kind of deal?
Not really, no. You might have some of the next team there. They usually attend the Spectrum events ones. We had the next team at Crash Live, and they got some good. I think Enrique turned up, which I got to meet him for the first time. He was absolutely a fine gentleman indeed, really nice and easygoing, and very enthusiastic, along with most of the next team are. But yeah, these are good events. Yeah.
Will you be taking any video at that event for posting on your channel? Do you do that kind of thing?
I do videos. It's usually just live on Facebook. I don't record it for my channel.
Okay.
Yeah, I just do a live feed on Facebook. I did one today where I went to Digbeth, where there was loads of retro games. It was mainly console based.
I saw that one with the tower of NES holding up the roof.
Oh, that was...
or was that an older one?
It's a game of Cradley Heath. Yeah, nice guy Nick is. He's got quite a good collection of stuff for you to buy.
And he said in the video, he said, okay, you think that's it? Well, that's not it. Take a look at this. And he went into a room with like thousands of games in there. And then there was like 3 of those rooms.
Yeah, and then he's got a couple of units full of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's got plenty of stuff to sell.
At the event, is there going to be any modern versions of Commodore remakes like the
there'll be
Mega
modern games
65?
there as well. Yeah.
I mean, the units themselves.
Yeah, there'll be people there who've built new units.
Yeah.
And that. So yeah, that'll be at the event too.
Do you have trouble finding ideas for your own videos? No, you've got stuff waiting in the pipe to come out.
I've got too much material to go by. When you're reviewing games and there's over 10,000, you've got years of stuff to do.
Are you going to do them all?
With something, no, I don't think I'll do. I think I'll get to Crash issue number 98 and call it a day. If it's, but there's always something new, and there's always
You're doing games from the Crash cover tapes?
Crash cover tapes. I'm doing the cover tapes. I've reviewed the games on them because they're what people have sent me.
I mean, is your channel you're reviewing games from the original Crash cover tapes? Is that
original? Not cover tapes. Original Crash.
Okay.
Not all the Crashes came with a cover tape. It was only the later editions that had cover tapes on them. And what it is, they sold the magazine with a tape of free software that they was able to release. And then other magazines did that to compete, or Crash might have done it to compete with other magazines. And then there was a Crash magazine, shall we say, cover tape war, where one game had released 5 on their magazine, then Crash had released 6, then your Sinclair had released 8 free softwares come in the magazine. But the consequence of that was, instead of a magazine being that thick, it'd end up being about that thick, because they'd spend more of the budget on getting this tape out than they would do on the actual content of the magazine. So there was a compromise. And that was towards the end of the actual life of the Spectrum, if you like, which, as time shows, has not really come to an end, because people can still build them brand new now, and they do quite regular. So yeah, it is that I'll review games from out of earlier issues that were given Crash Smashes. So yeah, that was it.
Well, I really appreciate your time. I could talk to you all day. You're so fascinating, but I don't want to take up your whole day. Is there anything else you want to mention while we're
Not really. I think you've covered it all.